I was in an interview. I was going for a role that was the next step up, and I was really nervous going into it. That imposter syndrome type feeling where I didn't know if I was ready to take that position, but I was going to go in there, put myself out there and just give it a crack and do my best. And I was being interviewed by a female, and I didn't get one marketing question the entire interview. I was questioned whether I would be confident enough to stand up to a male counterpart from another company that they worked with, and whether I was able to stand up to that person and be confident enough to hold my own. I got the job, and at the time I felt like, oh, that was a bit of a weird interview, but hey, I got the job. I'm stoked, but then only once I educated myself and read this book, I realized how demoralizing that actually was, and how as a woman, the questions that I was getting asked, would they have really been asked if it was a male or an older male?
Welcome to Manosphere Daily, the only channel where we say what every man's thinking but nobody's allowed to say out loud. This isn't about hate, it's about truth. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join the movement.
Let's put it this way. Let's say in only one out of 10 or 1 out of 50 instances, a guy walks up to a girl very politely and says, "How do you do, ma'am? My name's, Rick, and couldn't help but notice you shopping at this here bookstore, and I live in the area. I'm trying to make friends." How does he know that he's not going to end up with a viral clip, a picture taken, accusing him of being a creep?
I'll tell you.
I am so tired of no one in these conversations speaking up for the harsh and very real reality that men are facing in the dating world right now. Because we talk about what women face. We're perfectly comfortable saying there's deadbeat guys who need to, get off their bum. You need to, make your money. You need to be able to provide for your family. You need to be in shape. You need to be fit, because if you're fat, you can't, and you're running across the street with a jiggle belly, you can't protect your woman. We are comfortable saying all of these things, but we are not comfortable checking women and saying, are you in your feminine? Are you virtuous? Maybe that body count of 86 is catching up with you, honey. I'm not into it. We are not comfortable challenging them.
It's 2025. And while the world screams equal opportunity, something weird is happening in the job market. Many companies are quietly pulling back on hiring women. Not with a big public apology. Just subtle moves. Soft rollbacks. And the result? Women are being sidelined, not because they're unqualified, but because the system is shifting.
Gender pay gap?
That's right.
What if I told you that on average the male full-time employee works more hours than a female full-time employee?
We don't need your man statistics, okay?
There's jobs that only men can do and we're not allowed to. Like garbage man. It's literally in the name, garbage man.
What if I told you I can get you and your lady friends a job in garbage disposal?
Yeah, we'll do it.
We're not getting paid enough for this.
But you're getting paid the same as men.
But we should make more. We're women dragging garbage.
No, that's discrimination against men.
That's not cool, yeah.
Babe! What? I just broke my nail. I'm done.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. And they're almost proud, happy about the fact that they're gonna choose and make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
Random train of thought. If women do the same work as men for less pay, why wouldn't our business hire women?
Remember when diversity hiring was the golden ticket? Women in tech, women in leadership, every company promised it. But now, major firms like Adobe and UBS are scrapping their gender and diversity targets.
There's a different vocabulary for men and women in the music industry, right?
Give me an example.
Okay, a man does something, it's strategic. A woman does the same thing, it's calculated. A man is allowed to react, a woman can only overreact.
She got money, she is famous, she said anything, media captures it and shows it in a royal and struggling manner.
Would you rather have a female or a male boss?
I know it sounds really bad, but I've seen in so many jobs that I've had where there's been a female boss, you do kind of feel like there's a bit more of a competitive nature about them.
Female. I'd say female as well. I think they're just a bit more understanding. Sometimes when you need time off
for reasons. I think sometimes they get it a bit more, especially if it's a bit more personal. They kind of understand that you've got like more of an emotional side.
I would love to be a stay-at-home mom. I would love to be a homemaker and a wife. I would love to be able to live on a homestead and go milk my cow and take the eggs out of the chicken coop and have one baby in the belly and on my hip and another toddler coming behind me. That's like my dream, but I can't do that because the way the economy is set up is I'm forced to work. I'm forced to get an education, a higher education, a college degree in order to make enough money that I can be financially independent and afford my own home or my own rent or my own gas or my own groceries, my own insurance. And it's extremely difficult to do that.
She is right. Women who are single, who are in their 20s and 30s and who are doing the grind are miserable. We're miserable because we are not designed for that. And we get so stressed out and we're not doing what's really intrinsic in us. Like we're not just leaning on a guy and having like a simple, beautiful day.
The narrative changed from, we need more women, to, we hire on merit. On paper it sounds fair. In practice, the filter just got narrower. What this means, hiring pipelines are being reviewed. Job descriptions aren't just open to all, they're demanding start UPS-style grit, 10-year experience in an industry that barely existed 5 years ago, relocation, unpredictable hours. And guess who often says, I'll pass.
And one day I was out on a site doing some project work and there was myself, a lovely receptionist, an amazing guy using a scrubber better than I've ever seen anybody, and the person that I was supposed to be meeting. So I got there, I said, hi, I'm Kelsey, I'm from Bix, I'm here to do whatever. And she said, oh, I'll just call him. So she said, like, the lady's here from Bix. And he came down to the reception and I was like, ready, and he literally looked straight past me and even looked outside, and I was like logoed up, ready, excited, and there was like only us four in the building, and I said, hi, I think you're looking for me, I'm Kelsey. And he was like, oh, okay.
Men actually respect marriages.
What do you mean by that?
Women don't really respect marriages.
You're saying outside of the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like a man wouldn't come to you.
Yes.
Because he's like, oh, you've got your thing.
Yes, like, cause like when I used to meet guys, any type of famous guys and stuff like that, they'll be like, how you doing? How you doing, Cardi B? Like this and that. My DMs were extremely dry. Nobody would approach me. But these women, they will throw themselves at a married man like it's nothing. It's like, oh, well, whatever. And it's not because it was me. You know, I'm Cardi B at the end of the day. When I announced that I was single, oh, boy.
Your DMs?
The DMs, every type of way. Like, every type of way they was trying to reach. But when they know that you're, like, in a marriage and, like, you have a family, they won't approach you. They won't.
If you can hire, like, let's use the 83 cents to $1. Yeah. Okay? If you can hire women for less than you can hire men, how come all these companies aren't just hiring women?
Because then it's going to be looking like they're just giving the woman the job and we're just putting more women in women. And I feel like I feel like you need to diversify the workforce because we do have different ideas. We do have different type of, like, in that sense, like your idea might be different than mine, that I might not have thought of that, maybe because you experienced something different than I have.
So what's happening when companies avoid hiring women? It's not always labeled sexism. It's labeled market conditions, skills fit, or cost of onboarding. But the effect is real. Senior women are stagnating. Leadership representation stays flat, or drops. Women who made it through the last decade of diversity push now face the reverse. Roles are fewer, competition's higher, and the implicit expectations are harsher. Recruiters freely discuss commitment risk, motherhood, job gaps, mobility. Women hear you. Even if the firm doesn't say it.
If companies can pay women less, why don't they hire all women?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Really?
I understand your argument, and I understand that you're angry.
I'm not angry.
I can hear it in your voice.
I'm not angry.
Your voice.
I'm hearing my voice and I sound pretty calm.
You have now shifted the quality of your voice, and I thank you for that.
Okay.
And you've just given me a condescending look, and that's another reason why we need feminism. And now I'm done. Thank you so much.
I just saw this video of a very brave man who was asking the question, at what age do women realize that some rich 10 out of 10 man isn't going to marry them? That man Definitely brave. He's definitely brave. There were a lot of women in the comments. But then we hear the man's perspective, and it is just this. Like, they are trying to get out there, they're dating, they're on dating apps, and they're finding time and time again that women are materialistic and they are having these unrealistic expectations. So you tell me, where is that coming from if it's completely made up? The numbers show that less men and women, especially at a young age, like through their 20s, are not getting coupled together as much. I tend to believe that the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and there's areas that both women and men can improve on. And I know that I'm giving the male perspective, but that's because there are plenty of women's perspective out there on social media. I'm just giving you the other side. I understand that there's a balance, and I think most people, even my followers, understand that there's a balance.
Pretend that you were in charge of a prison, and you could hire all female prison guards for the most violent criminals on planet Earth, or all male prison guards with the exact same qualifications. Which ones would you hire?
The strongest, period.
Okay, which ones are going to be the strongest, do you think?
If I have no evidence for who is going to be stronger.
Maybe I can add to that.
Like,
what do you mean you have no evidence? Life
Based-
experience. Men are stronger than women are, almost
just
always.
Based off gender. I could not pick who is going to serve my people the best.
Let me ask you a question. The 100 strongest people in the entire world right now, are they men or women?
I don't know.
They're men.
Well, there's 3 men cornering her. Like, she can't, like, answer the
no,
question.
no, these are big, strong women. What do you mean
Because
they
you
can't
guys
get
have, like,
cornered?
10...
When there was
It's
a draft,
real.
why is it only men?
That's a good question. I wasn't
Well, now
there.
it's going to have to be women
Okay.
soon, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, because feminists are fighting for equality, so now we're going to get it.
It's been stated in the Bible that men are protectors, so yeah.
Right, because they do a better job protecting.
I have always felt more protected by my mom than
So
I
why
have by
would-
my dad.
This is why I just quit my job as a doctor and moved to Mexico City. I know that if you've been following me for a while, this may come as a shock because it would seem that I really liked my job, and I did. This has nothing to do with not liking my job.
Men, it's just interesting because we can like our job, make a lot of money, and still quit. Men would never. They would never.
If you're a woman job seeker today, there are a few hard truths. You're up against more than just other candidates, you're up against new filters. Being qualified is no longer enough unless you also tick all the extra boxes: availability, heavy-duty travel, relocation readiness, ultra-flexible hours. The diversity ticket is no longer a guarantee. The same companies are pulling those tickets away. And for men, this shift reveals something: the playing field never was flat. Many of you stepped into roles when women were being fast-tracked. Now when the fast track narrows, you see a clearer image of how much of the path was shaped by policy, not just merit.
One of my coaching clients just told me the other day that he was at work and he walked into the break room and he saw that there was a new girl who was there and he introduced himself. By no means was he being flirty. By no means was he doing anything inappropriate. He was just being nice and introduced himself. Only to find that he was reported the next day to HR for being inappropriate. He was completely mind blown, and he promises that he did not do anything even close to that and has no idea why that would happen. You do not need to meet women at work. It is a
But working with all females and then going to working with all males, oh yeah, there were a few things that I didn't like, but it was such a godsend because males, for me, and for me anyway, were so much easier. And overall, I mean, her and I work well together. I think that's very rare, actually, because we're best friends and we can work together. And I think that's a rare situation. But working with males is a lot easier for me.
Woman wins compensation from employer after her boss refused to say hello to her 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. She is that lady. Cha-ching. I remember the episode when I was talking about how you go into an office, you say good morning, no one responds. You say goodbye, no one responds. Well, you people that like to act bougie, specifically the employers, we coming for you. We coming for you, car. Yeah, make sure the energy right when you step into the office. That's all I'm gonna say.
So yes, companies in 2025 are awkwardly avoiding hiring women. Not always intentionally, but structurally. Quietly. And that means the equal opportunity mantra needs a rewrite. Men and women alike, pay attention. The system changes behind closed doors while the headlines stay the same. Adapt. Stay sharp. Know the rules even when nobody says them. This is Manosphere Daily, where we call out what really is, not what they say. If this video hit you, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Hiring filters revealed. Because the truth doesn't wait for permission.
I've applied to 300 plus jobs since August and I've heard back on none of them. Before you say it's my resume.
Oh, I can tell you why it seems like everyone's hiring, but no one's actually hiring you. I applied for thousands of jobs after I graduated college, and after I finally landed one, and once I left that company, I had no hope of getting another one, so I made my own career path. That's right, I never even managed to find a way into the industry from which I graduated from and originally wanted to join. Yeah, it's so hard for Gen Z and millennials to get a job nowadays. Most of us are just working 3 or 4 odd jobs to cover our bills. It's very sad. And people like this who are trying to sell you courses or profit off of this will try and tell you it's you or it's your approach that's the issue, and that's honestly not often it, which makes you feel even more helpless. Because when I would actually find places that were hosting interviews, I would often make it to like the end round of candidates, so I don't think it was me who was the problem. I had a pretty good fighting chance. But the issue is right in front of you. When you open up your LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, and you look at all your job applications, what do you see right away? Only one of those was actually ever viewed. And most of them all go completely unviewed and untouched. Why is that? I can confirm this now as someone who once dabbled in the admin area for a company that also did this. This is very common practice, especially amongst like Fortune 500 companies. One time I had a friend who worked at a Fortune 500 company. I was like, oh, your marketing department's always posting listings for hiring. I should apply so we could work together. That'd be so much fun. And he looked at me and he said, don't bother. And I was like, that's kind of rude. Why would you say that? And he said, those probably aren't real. And any jobs we do have, they're going to be hired internally first. It's one of two things. We want our own people in the roles, but we have to post it publicly to say that we're hiring. Or two, the job just isn't real, and looking like we're always hiring looks good on the outside from a growth perspective. Now, the legalities of that, I'm not positive of. Sadly, it's not an uncommon practice in the industry. It has a name. They're referred to as ghost jobs. The worst part is there's no way of knowing at first glance which ones are real and which are fake. So I think the fact that these have become such a common practice might contribute to this number looking so good overall on a national scale of job openings. It's quite possible a lot of them aren't.
It's absolutely insane that girls sat there, made up a story about a man and ruined his life. He could have committed suicide, stuck in his house, worried about being accused of something he didn't do. And they all have Instagram. And they deleted my Instagram saying I'm dangerous. Absolutely criminal.
Women are not always the victim. And this thinking needs to change. And as Andrew Tate says, it's absolutely criminal that women have the power to accuse men of something they didn't even do. Men are avoiding women at work simply because they are worried about women making unfounded charges or threats. Just imagine the mental consequences that boy will have to feel for the rest of his life.
A man will sacrifice his happiness for his family, and a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness.
I don't believe that. Because you guys are the men.
No, because it happens to me in real life.
I think it's, listen, this is hard for you to accept it because I don't think, I think you would be different.
You're good. But my mom left when I was like 1 or 2.
See, that gives me chills,
She
like,
disappeared.
thinking about that.
Not disappeared, but like she was wanting to like go do young people stuff and go party and stuff like that. Well, my dad had to sit, go to work and take care of me. She did come back eventually, but that's picking happiness over her family.
It gave me like chills.
Why?
I don't know. It's sad to think about. A man would sacrifice his happiness for his family. A woman would sacrifice her family for her happiness.
Today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.